Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean. This is In The Mixer as we continue our Hashtag United series in Football Manager 2019. It's been a long ass day, I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I'm super excited to get back into the swing of things in this save because we are sitting high and mighty on top of the table there, just above my head. If we go to the expanded view here, 11 games in, 7 wins, 4 draws, which might not sound great, but I'm actually really happy with the way that it's worked out. Some of these draws are fight back, some of them games that we've done well to concede early and then make our way back into it. Sometimes we've let leads slip, whatever else, but we've also had a whole bunch of other stuff going on behind the scenes relating to personnel availability, international call-ups, injuries, all that sort of stuff. I guess the first one we should hit on is Joe Norman, who is the one signing that we've made since the last episode. Ex-Watford centre-back, excellent player, already killing it as a ball-playing defender. Has made 8 appearances and already scored 3 goals for us, all from corner setups. He's got really good physical attributes, good bravery, good positioning, teamwork, work rate, and decision-making. Tackling, marking, heading's okay. His passing's improving as well as he continues in that ball-playing role, but he's been absolutely excellent since we picked him up. The big struggle we've had is in the centre of the park, where we currently only have 3 players, so we are looking to try and pick somebody extra up. Oliver Hyam actually tore his hamstring and is out for still 5 more weeks to 2 months, but he pretty much did that, I think, in the second or third episode or game of the season. Charlie Jeffries has been coming back from injury. He's been out for a fair few weeks as well. George Uri keeps getting called up to the Scottish under-19 and under-20 sides, which is killing us. So for a long period there, we actually had George Williams, who's a centre-back by trade, playing in central midfield, and we were actually trying to throw extra wingers in, like Nick Gilmore, and I think Ben Smith played in there a couple of times, and we had a whole bunch of different players that weren't suited to midfield roles covering that position for us. And even with those injuries, even with those struggles, we've still managed to remain undefeated in the league season. Having said that though, our last game against Fareham Town, we lost 4-1 in the FA Cup. I did rotate quite a bit. A lot of the guys that hadn't had starts up to that point in the season were given an opportunity, and they really struggled. Really, from the first minute through to the last, we were the second best team on everything. And even the goal we pulled back was only in the 90th minute once I brought some of our higher quality players on as subs. But having said that, still doing really, really well. We are level on points with Eastleigh, who are absolutely flying. We did beat Eastleigh 3-1 earlier on in the season for one of their defeats. And we do have a good opportunity in this episode to use one of our catch-up games that you've got here to go to 12 games played, get ourselves a bit of a points gap, hopefully Eastleigh drop points at the same time, and continue our fantastic start to the season so far. But enough talking from me, let's jump into the first game against St Albans, who are currently 5th in the division, so they're not doing too badly either. We weren't a very smart looking away kit there. Ched Evans is the manager of St Albans. Probably the less said about that one, the better. I don't really want to be getting flagged or demonetised or anything like that. Not that any of my videos make any money or that they're even set to make money, but you've got to get into good habits early. That's how you grow the channel. Gibbons, of course, in goal. He's been excellent so far this season. Parkhill and Austin as the fullbacks either side. Norman, who we spoke about at the start, will play as the central defender. I'm going to give Paul Turnbull a start. He actually started complaining about his current appearances and how he's been used. So Josh Overton will drop to the bench. If it doesn't go well, I will happily swap them back across. I'm not that worried about Paul Turnbull. If he cracks the shits anymore, he can leave. That's no drama. O'Neill and Rodriguez, who have both been fantastic on the wings. Nick Gilmore, we've been trying to rotate through the side as well, just to keep him happy because he wants first team football. Jeffries will come in, but he's not fully fit. He's probably only got a half in him, so we'll give him the first half and then take him off at half time. Uri will anchor midfield as a deep line playmaker. Ferreira and Mir will continue their blossoming relationship up top. 11 goals so far this season for Keith Mir. He's dragging us through games at times, and Ferreira has actually done really well. He's not made that many appearances because he's been away with the Portugal under-20 team, but he's got a whole bunch of assists. I think he's our leading assist maker at this stage of the season, and also 3 goals of his own, so he's a quality player. Looks like they're playing a 4-5-1, similar to the formation that we played against Chesham in the first episode. Of course, a 1-1 draw in that game. We'll be looking to go one better today. And I'm just going to calmly tell everyone I expect to see a much better performance from you today. There actually aren't that many guys out there on the park today that started that first match, or that last match in the FA Cup, but we do still want to continue winning ways and get back into decent league form. Would have been nice to keep going in the FA Cup. We could have used the cash, to be completely honest. We haven't really improved our finances in the first 10 games of the season, but hopefully, as we get into the new year, and hopefully offload some of the players that are currently sitting in the under-23 and under-18 squads, we'll be able to continue to raise money. Wicks with the corner here. It's a deep one away. Ball all away from Turnbull. Rockall has it now. Back out to Wicks on the left wing. It's closed down very well. Sean O'Neill should make the recovery. Instead it goes to Keith Mir. We've got men moving on the far side. Instead he goes a reverse pass to O'Neill, who can get across in towards Jeffries. Out to Uri. It's going to be tidied up by Turnbull. Back to Uri. Resets again through Norman. We can switch out to the other side if he's got his eyes open. Instead he goes for a long ball towards Keith Meir, and it's a good first time volley just wide of the near post. But good signs early. Right, Statham now with the ball forward, who we actually tried to sign forever and ever. Maxwell Statham. He was a junior with Tottenham around the same time that we were looking to pick up Armando Shashua and the like from that group. Spruce now with the ball. It's a good strike, and thankfully Gibbons gets his body behind it. But he just never wanted to come, and it's weird because St Albans, I think, finished like 15th last season, whereas we made the playoff final and still can't attract players at the same quality of everyone else. They've recovered possession again. Spruce is coming forward, but he's well tackled by Turnbull, who, to be fair, has looked okay in the opening minutes of this game. Famous last words. He'll put one in the back of the net now. Ferreira plays the ball forward. It's a decent strike from distance. Keeper looked to have it covered most of the way, but only just past the far post. Alright, you can see on those around the ground scores, Eastleigh have taken a 2-1 lead against Cray Wanderers, which would see them leapfrog us up into top spot. But if we go ahead here, we should jump back into first. We're going to use our demand more instruction for the remaining 15 minutes of the half, and hopefully we can try and put the ball in the back of the net before we go in for half time. But it's not been a bad performance as far as the highlights are concerned. Alright, last highlight of the half here. There's 1 minute to be added on. O'Neill recovers the ball well. Do we have one more counter-attack left in us? Mir plays the ball back out to O'Neill on the right-hand side. He's moving into his own half now. Played across to Jeffries. Crossfield switch toward Rodriguez. Can he get the ball in the middle? Hangs one back stick towards Mir, who gets his strike away and his first to the rebound. 12th goal of the season for Keith Mir in 12 league appearances. A great assist from Valeriano Rodriguez. Hangs the ball up nicely there. Mir with the header. Good save by Langley, but he can't hold it, and thankfully Mir, Fox in the box, first one to it again. I quite like that kit where it's got the yellow socks and the blue upper half. It's not usually what #United wears, but I think it looks sharp in the game. And that does see us move back up into first spot on the stroke of half-time. 8 shots, 4 on target, 55% possession. 6 shots, 2 on target, 45% for St Albans. Assertive because we're away from home. I'm happy with your performance so far. Keep it up. Let's just try and boost morale after that loss last time out. And hopefully we can kick on a little bit and get a couple more goals in the second half, just to boost our goal difference. But St Albans, we know, aren't a bad side. Even with this defeat, or as things currently stand with the defeat, they will still sit 5th in the division overall. Ball forward now. Austin's going to tidy up. Norman has the ball at the back. It's a long one over the top towards Ferreira. Can he find the finish? He's gotten in behind well, but Langley did well to close the angle, as did the defender. And we've got a corner here. Our corner routines have been working alright so far. They're mainly short corners between the two wingers. So O'Neill will take it now on his right side and hang it front post. Jeffries goes up for his first goal of the season. And I completely forgot that Jeffries was only suggested to have 45 minutes. So his first goal for the club, congratulations to him. Obviously in the opening part of the season, struggling with injury, but we need to get him off now. So I don't trust George Uri. He's a bit of a Scottish psychopath, so I'm concerned that he's going to potentially pick up another yellow. But I don't know if I want to make that change just yet. I'm just going to take Charlie Jeffries off for the time being, just so that we don't exacerbate his injuries any further, and as he continues to work his way back into full fitness, knowing that we only really have 2 fit central midfielders. It's a ball over the top, so they've immediately had a highlight, but Rodriguez is going to recover the ball now. No, that's the end of the highlight. Just getting my hopes up, Football Manager, as always. Right, their manager's just had a poor team talk, so I'm going to try and use Get Creative and see if it inspires anybody on our team. A few people are inspired. We've still got a couple of guys in Gibbons and Uri that are pressured by that feedback. We've now also got both central midfielders sitting on yellow cards, which is a bit of a concern with still half an hour remaining. O'Mara with the ball forward to Henderson. Back to DC to Rocco. To Henderson again. Just need to calm down, George. He's recovered the ball very well. Looks to release Keith Meir, but it's not quite on. Puts the ball into the corner. Statham will tidy up. Long ball down the line. Should be tidied up by Austin well. He's got men in the middle in Williams, and great crossfield switch from Williams. It wasn't quite there. Recovered well by Parkhill. The Rodriguez who strikes from distance, and that wasn't far wide on his not favoured right foot. Fair play to him. Trying to smack one in from 45 yards. Around the ground, Sutton currently drawing with Chippenham, which is good to see. Eastleigh still 2-1 up against Cray Wanderers, but they have had Peel sent off in the 21st minute, so hopefully Cray can pull something back and we can actually get ourselves a bit of a points gap going. We're going to make one sub here. We're going to take off Vasco Ferreira, who hasn't done badly. He's on 6.8, but we're just going to give Bernard Brennan some time for the last 20 minutes. And I'm going to keep that last substitution up my sleeve, just in case something happens with the 2 central midfielders that are both on yellow cards. I'm hoping they can get through the game because we really don't have anyone that we can bring on in that spot. But worst case scenario, if someone does pick up a second yellow, we can at least try and ride out the last 10-15 minutes with 5 in midfield. Alright, last 10 minutes, their coach has given another poor shout. Williams with the ball forward towards Mir, and is that? No, he's just offside. It did look that way in the build-up. But again, keep an eye on what the opposition coach does, because if they give a poor shout from the sideline and no one looks interested, it's always a really good time to demand more out of your team to capitalise on it. Moss with the ball on the right, hangs one in. It's a backstick run from Cochrane, and that is a fantastic save from Gibbons. And then Luke Austin, I think it was, scrambled it away. So still a danger here. Long ball forward, Mir should get in behind without any drums. He's through on goal now, gets his strike away, but good save again from Langley, who, to be fair, has had a pretty decent game. O'Neill now with the ball, cut back to Williams. He's got a crossfield switch if he can find it. Cochrane comes out and slides into him. That might actually be a red card. Oh no, he's kept his cards pocketed. But Williams looks like he will take the free kick as well. He's got 12 free kicks. Let's see what he can do. It's not the best. It hits the wall and goes out for a corner kick. We'll see if we can run that routine from earlier that saw us pick up the second goal. O'Neill now bursts forward. Instead he goes to Williams at the top of the box. Back to O'Neill on the byline. Gets a ball in, but Langley does very well and comes out and claims in heavy traffic. Another highlight here coming our way from a corner. So we are making the most of them. That one doesn't go to anyone in particular though. Williams will tidy up. Out to Norman. Just needs to play a ball forward. Instead, he's lost the ball to Wicks, and they are bursting forward looking for some sort of consolation goal. Great tackle from Norman to recover possession. We do have men forward. If he just needs to find feet, he does now to Yuri. Back to Norman again, to Williams, to Norman. Long ball forward. Brennan's gotten in behind. Can he find the finish? That is an excellent, excellent goal, and a lovely assist from Joe Norman. Just nice little triangle back there, and then when he saw the long space in front of him, he knocked that ball in behind for Brennan to chase down. Brennan's actually done well, 3 goals this season off the bench in a largely limited role, and he can play both the deep line forward role that we're using and the advanced forward as well. It's a good finish. Just shapes right, aims right, finds the goal. Alright, this might actually be the last highlight of the game. We're into extra time now, about 30 seconds remaining, and we're just kind of playing pinball with him in the middle of the park. Rocker with the ball now to DC. Crossfield switch. They do have a 2v1 out there. We need Parkhill to go to the ball. Instead he cuts back, but Norman, as he so often has so far this season, just cuts that one out. Cochrane flicks the ball away. Only as far as Smith. It's a deep ball across towards Wick's back stick, and Gibbons does very well to hold the ball. And the referee calls full time. So that's really good response actually after losing and going out of the FA Cup last time out. 14 shots, 8 on target. They had the same stat line actually. 50% possession. So dead even statistically speaking. But we just did better with finishing our chances. Keith Mear, Charlie Jeffries and Bernard Brennan amongst the goals. It looks as though Joe Norman actually gets himself the Player of the Match award with a 9.1 rating, which is absolutely fantastic considering he didn't score. Did get that one assist though for Bernard Brennan's late goal. Unless anything massive comes up through in the course of this week, I think we're just going to try and jump ahead to the next game as quickly as we can. I've forgotten who we're playing, so we will double check that. There we go. We've got Western Supermare, who are currently sitting in 17th spot in 3 days' time. I've held up 4 fingers, but I meant 3 days. Like I said, it's been a long fucking day. Magic of editing though, we're going to jump ahead to that game now. Alright, so I said we jump back in if anything big happened throughout the week. There was a couple of things. First, the humble brag one. I won the Manager of the Month award. 6 matches, won 4 of them, 2 draws along the way as well in away games to Hampton and Richmond, who were actually struggling this season, and Worthing. We were second best in that Worthing game. They should have beaten us. And I've just burped into the mic. Everything's going fantastically well. Alright, so here's the big one that we need to look at first. Our current financial status is insecure, a negative balance of £484,000. Our income is up, but it's still not going past our expenditure, which is nearly 3 times that of our income. It's not really a great trend, and when you take into account that we're now out of the FA Cup, so any chance of getting additional prize money, which is what that spike is that you see here, we're really going to struggle. So what I've just gotten notice about is that Spencer Owen sent me an email. Where's Spencer's photo going? I don't know where that's went, but anyway, I regret to announce that due to a deterioration in the club's financial position, the wage budget has been reduced from 8.12k to 5.01k. So we had a K up our sleeves, and now it's been reduced by 3k. So that's going to mean, how bad is this going to look? We're currently spending 7.017 a week on wages. So we were previously a K under our wage budget and had room to move. We're now 2k over, so we're going to need to jettison a whole bunch of people. So what I've done is, pretty much all of the hashtag originals who I wanted to keep around as long as possible I've put on the transfer list immediately to try and get rid of them. We're also going to try and put them on the loan list as well and offer them out to clubs, which we're going to do now, because just doing some quick math, if we can get rid of some of these contracts, what's that, 400, 700, 900, 1150, 1400, 1650, 1850, 21, 23, 50, 26, 50. We've got 2.9k just sitting in our reserves doing nothing at the moment. So that's a tremendous amount that we could actually try and get rid of in terms of wage expenditure and get ourselves back in the black. Because even though now the board confidence is really good, if you are over your wage budget consistently, you're going to very quickly start to see pressure increase. And we haven't really had any pressure at any point because our club stature has been massive. We've been winning the entire time. Even this season, we're doing well on the park. It's just off the park that we need to try and pick up these finances. It's really the only flaw at #United right now. I am still untouchable, but I guarantee if we give that another month or two, it's going to be a real struggle to try and get any sort of support out of the board. And in reality, we want to get to January in a position to actually try and bring a couple of extra people in. We know we need another central midfielder. And you can already see here, there's a few of the guys that we brought in as 5-star potential players that have actually started to drop down and show themselves to actually be 4-star potential, actually be playing pretty much beneath where this level actually is. So we need to kind of do a little bit of wheeler dealing. We need to kind of put the future of the club first, and that means, unfortunately, we're going to have to jettison some of these guys that are on decent money each week to effectively sit in the reserves. It's not what I want to do. We're going to keep them on the shortlist. We're going to try and bring them back when we can. But for now, for the long-term good of the club, we're going to try and get rid of some of this wage expenditure unnecessarily. All right, and just jumping ahead to the game against Western-super-Mare, it's an unchanged starting 11 for us, but the one change is that Harrison, the backup left-back, will come in for George Williams, who's suspended on a yellow card suspension. Charlie Jeffrey's still only able to get through a half of this game, so we're going to have to play someone out of position in the second half at least. They're playing a flat 4-4-2, very similar to our structure. Of course, #original Matt Carter is their captain in central midfield. We tried to get him for 5 years, going all the way back to the very first transfer window in season 1 when he was a free agent, and we just could never get him to want to come and play for us, which was a real shame, but these things do happen in football, and let's just assertively say, come on lads, show me what we can do to keep our run going. They are sitting 17th. We are still in top spot, albeit on the exact same points as Eastleigh, who got through their game previously as well. And given the extra pressure we're going to be under for the remainder of the season financially, we really need to try and continue sitting up at the top of the division to keep the players happy and to keep the board off my back. No highlights to speak of in the opening 30 minutes, so we're just going to use our demand more shout and hopefully get a bit of a lift out of the lads. Everybody's responded positively and focused to that. Joe Norman, the only one really concerned at the moment with a yellow card early on in the contest, but he's a pretty decent player and probably one of our best mental attributed players, so hopefully he can kind of manage himself and not jump into any silly challenges. Though we do have Overton on the bench, even if we do go down to 10 men, we might look to make that sub around the hour mark, and I might try and force Charlie Jeffries to play an hour as well. Alright, the big news is that Eastleigh are 2-0 down in their game, a red card in the 6th minute, and Slough have scored twice since. So a massive opportunity for us to finish this episode 3 points clear at the top of the table. Passionately, let's just say, keep going out there, you can still win this one. That's not worked that well. Let's say go to the defence and say, I'm looking for you to make the difference. I know you're capable. They've responded positively and motivated. I'm looking for you to make the difference to the midfield. At least one of them, Sean O'Neill's responded positively. I'm looking for you to make the difference. Keith Mears. I just need Keith Mears happy and motivated, and he looks it now. So we're going to go 15 more minutes before we look at subs, but hopefully we can get a bit of a response out of everybody. Alright, first real highlight of the contest here. Euro with the crossfield switch towards O'Neill. Can he square it up for Mears? Instead he goes for the strike, and Thomas does well to wrap that one around the post. We will have a corner here, which we've been successful at in the last couple of games. Rodriguez take a shot onto O'Neill, play towards Turnbull, hits the deck again. Turnbull gets a strike away, but it's closed down well by the Western-super-Mare defence. Game sprung into life here in this last little passage. O'Neill again, hacked away by Barnett for a throw-in. We're getting towards the hour mark as well, so we might look at subs once this highlight's finished. But it's Austin now, back to Yuri. Austin again, can he get the ball across? Deep one towards Ferreira. It's a good header from Vasco Ferreira, his 4th goal of the season. And even though we have just scored, I'm going to try and make those subs. I just don't want to risk anything. So do I trust Joe Norman? Yeah, I trust Joe Norman. Let's give Robbie Harrison a run out because it looks like Gary Parkhill is struggling at left back. Rodriguez hasn't had the best game, so we're going to bring on Nick Gilmore. And then I guess for the last one, it might make the most sense for the goal scorer Vasco Ferreira, who has pretty excellent passing and vision and such forth, to come into the box-to-box midfielder. He can't play that role, but he's got okay traits, so I think he might be alright. We'll bring on Bernard Brennan up top and give Charlie Jeffries a bit of a rest as he makes his way back from injury. I think we've just missed the 3-dimensional replay of that one, but it was a good cross, a good header. Alright, this highlight's continuing here. I'm hopeful it's just us recovering possession and going forward once more. Carter plays the ball forward, inside to Barnett, who did have time and space in front of him. Instead, plays back inside. Thomas now with a reverse pass. Turnbull does very well to get back and make a clearance, putting that one into touch. And now gone, we're also going to use our Get Creative shout. It just seems to always work well around the 60-minute mark. I'm a real creature of habit. I tend to do 30-minute shouts, 60-minute shouts, and then an 80th minute shout to get us through to the last 10 minutes of a game. I don't know how successful they are, but I'm in the habit now, so I'm not going to change. Austin plays the ball forward to O'Neill. Austin, a long one forward towards Mir. It's going to come back to Ferreira. Gets on his favoured left peg, plays it forward to Brennan. Back to Ferreira again. Doing well. Gilmore out on the left wing. Ferreira with the ball now. Played inside to Brennan. Long strike from distance, and it wasn't that far off, to be fair. Tell you what, for a game that didn't really have any highlights up until the 55th minute mark, we've had a shitload of stuff to see since then. Right, we've got a highlight here as we get into the last 10 minutes. Ball's with Yuri now. Back to Ferreira at the top of the box. He can strike this if he wants on his favoured left. It's not a bad effort. Just wide past the post. I don't really like forcing players to play in their natural positions, but Ferreira's done okay so far in central midfield. We've also just used our demand more shout for the last 10 minutes. Body language is pretty much focused for most. We just really need to ride out this last few minutes. We haven't seen much in terms of highlights from Western-Supermare, but it only takes one for them to put the ball in the back of the net. There's no one really on our side that's had an excellent game. Luke Austin's done very well, but obviously the assist helps boost that up. Right, one more highlight here. We're into the first minute of additional time. Gilmore now with the ball. It's a low cross. It wasn't really directed at anybody in particular. And they've got a 2v1 back here. A crossfield switch towards Evans. He gets the strike away. And what did I just say about we've not had a highlight for them, but there's always a danger? It was a good volley, to be fair. Like, it's just a long ball forward. We kind of get isolated a little bit, getting dragged too far to the right-hand side. Crossfield switch towards Evans, and good technique on the strike, but so frustrating. We used Get Creative for the last 2 minutes of additional time. I don't think it's going to do anything. Everyone seems inspired by the feedback, but given the way this game has gone, this might just be a case of a missed opportunity. We will still go into top spot. Mir with a free kick from distance, but he can't get that one on target. That was really going to be our last opportunity, and the referee blows for full time. So it's a case of 2 points drop rather than a point earned, which is disappointing, but look, it's better than a loss. We're still undefeated. We're still top of the league. We do now have a 1 point advantage ahead of Eastleigh, who lost their game today. And I'm just going to say you weren't good enough today. It's a shorter match we should be winning. They are 17th in the division. So there we go. Hashtag United denied by a late goal, an injury time equaliser for Lemon Heat Evans. It was a good strike, to be fair, and you did end up with the Player of the Match award and an 8.3 rating. We just didn't make the most of our opportunities, really. Maybe I shouldn't have made those subs as early as I did. Anyway, the season rolls on. Obviously, Slough have done us a massive favour winning their game 2-0. We are still top of the division. We are still undefeated after 13 games. The club's financial situation is something that I'm going to have to keep working on, likely off screen. But we are still in a good place early on in the season. And we're at the right end of the table, so that's really what we want to see continue. I think we might make a pretty decent jump ahead. We might go... We'll skip the FA Trophy game, you don't need to see that. And then we might do 10 league games and then come back on the 1st of January for the games against Concord and Woking. Just because that'll give us the month of November, the month of December to try and get rid of some of the players that we currently have sitting in our under-23s, get our finances back to a decent position and hopefully put ourselves in the box seat for a decent charge at the title. If we can get towards January and still be sitting around 1st or 2nd spot, or even better, have a bit of a margin in front of the teams behind us, that means we can kind of accelerate through this season a little bit more and push towards the end of the season and get ourselves up into the NRL National. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on one game at a time and getting good results. As always though, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the continued support that we've had. If you want to be kept up to date on future videos when they're released, you can either follow _FM on Twitter or subscribe to the channel by hitting the icon underneath this video. But as always, I've been Sean, this has been In The Mixer, and don't forget to hashtag it.